Ready for a no meat, no egg, no dairy, fast, low cost, little energy to make, great tasting meal? Then let's make one. Hello, pizza, another pizza. Imagine that. This one's gonna be a little bit different for most. I've made these before. So this is gonna be, I'm gonna use the plant-based cheddar that I did the reviews on just a few weeks ago when I got the Kraft plant-based Kraft Not Co cheeses. So I had some left over, from all the reviews and stuff, quite a bit left over. I didn't use that much for the reviews. So I decided, I haven't done this in, I can't tell you how many years. Back when I used to eat meat, eggs, and dairy, I made cheddar cheese pizza, and they're fantastic. So I figured, why not? Let's give it a shot with the plant-based, right, cheddar, and see how it goes. Now, you probably saw already the one I did, if you're a subscriber or whatever, you may have seen it, the provolone, which was fantastic. It was so good. But provolone is kind of one of those cheeses that are used quite a bit on pizza, along with mozzarella, and you can use Parmesan Reggiano for a little bit of flavoring too. No cheese at all. I make those too. I've got those posted up. I'm not going to use any avocado in this, but you can at the end if you want to put avocado on it. That's great too. They're really great with that as well. This one I'm just not going to do avocado. I'm just going to do the cheese. I've got this beautiful, it just smells so good. This is my ultra thin, that's about 1/8 of an inch thick. This is hickory smoked tofu. So I cut these in these thin slices and put them on the smoker. Not too much heat so they don't dry out, so they have some nice texture and moisture to them. And I do them the same way I do my regular, the whole full size thick pieces. So that video's up, and all you have to do is kind of use that one. I did shoot this when I was doing it this last time, and I hopefully going to make a short reel on it. But it's pretty much the same thing. You're going to smoke the tofu. You're going to put whatever wood chips, and you're just going to do it with less heat and longer smoke. So once you get the smoke going and lower the heat way down, because they're thin and you don't want to dry them out too much, because tofu will dry out, the moisture will come out of them. But you want to keep some of that moisture. These are beautiful because there's nice texture to them. God, I love that smell. I love hickory. It's just fantastic for smoking. So I've got mushroom. So I'm going to not do this in the traditional way. There's a baby Bella. So my traditional way, which is I put them and I steam them first, mushrooms all the time before I put them on the pizza. And they have a tendency to absorb a lot of water and they stay nice and moist. Sometimes I like them just the drier side. So this time I'm going to just slice these up and slice this baby Bella up and then just use them dry. So I'm not going to do the microwave where I put them in the steam and get them all nice and thick and heavy. And I like that on my pasta. I do like it on the pizza, but it's also good just doing the basic mushroom without all that. So I've got that going on, got the cheese going on. I've got some herbs, as always. It's going to have some cilantro, green onion, and basil at the end. I'm going to put on after. I just like doing it that way. You can, again, I always say, do it however you want. You can put the basil in and cook it all in. You can do it separate. Tonight I'm just going to do it separate. I like the look of it afterward, sprinkled on top of everything, beautiful color and stuff, so it's nice. And then I've got roasted garlic. So the roasted garlic is going to go down as the base underneath here, and I'll sprinkle a little bit of some other stuff on it, black pepper and things like that, all that to get that ready, and then everything will go on top of that, which is the tofu and everything else. And I'm going to cut everything up, and I'm just going to make it into the tofu and the cheese into little squares, and I'll mash up the garlic and get all that ready. And once I get all that ready, I will be back because I'm going to do that off camera. No point in you watching it. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, back. So I've got everything cut up. And so I'm using 2 slices of this, and it's going to cover pretty much the whole pizza on top. So it's going to be really nice. Looks good. I just cut it up into these little squares, uneven, doesn't make any difference. It's all going to melt on top anyway. I've got my smoked tofu ready to go. That's going to get put on there as well. The cheese is going to go on top of everything, so it all melts on top of the cheese when it's done. Got the garlic mashed up, ready to go. I'm going to spread that. I'm going to do a little something to prep the bread to get it flavored. And I've got my onions and cilantro here, which is all ready to go, and I'll sprinkle those on. And then the basil I'm going to put on afterward. So what I normally do here is I take a little bit of olive oil, and you've probably seen this in my other videos. I like doing this to underneath. It kind of seals, like I said before, if you've seen the videos, it seals off the crust from getting too much moisture in it and getting soggy. I don't like my crust soggy. And I get it all the way around out to the edges. I just do this with my fingers is the best way to do it. For me, you might try another method like a brush or something, and I've used brushes before. So I just get that, and it works really nice to kind of crispy up the edges. And I don't know if crispy up is a word, but crispy up is what it does. So, so I just like to get that spread around real nice. Like that. It's nice and glossy and beautiful. It's not a lot. It's probably total of half a teaspoon of olive oil on there. And it gives a nice flavor too. So I'm going to put a little black pepper on here, tiny bit. I don't like to use a lot of it. Black pepper is very overpowering, but I love it. I'm also going to put a little bit of onion powder, just a tiny amount, really nothing, just a dusting of it. And same thing with garlic powder. Just adds a little essence at the crust level, which I like. Very little, not even 1/100 of a teaspoon. I'll put a little bit of salt down here, but very little. I don't use a lot of salt. Again, maybe, I don't know, 1/100 of a teaspoon, just a little bit of a sprinkle. So first thing that goes down is the roasted garlic, which I just kind of get in the middle here and try to get it even. So it's going to be a little bit in every bite. You may miss a little in a bite, but that's okay. I kind of like that because it's not always in every bite, and you kind of bite into it. It's like, oh wow, there's that roasted garlic. It's really great. So I kind of just get this spread around the best I can. Easy to do with your fingers, probably more than anything else. And it just has this great aroma underneath everything, which is really terrific. And again, you could put as much of this stuff on as you want. I mean, you can cover the thing in roasted garlic. I don't, I wouldn't do it, but maybe you would. So I just mash this into the bread, which is really good, or the crust, excuse me, which is basically a bread. So there you go. So we get that just kind of most of it covered, which is great. And again, that'll pop up every now and then when you take a bite. And it doesn't have to be even. Just perfect, just like that. It's fantastic. Okay. And now we're going to put the smoked tofu down. So this is going to go in here. And you can layer this up how you like. If you want to put the cheese down and then the smoked tofu on top of it, you can do whatever. These are just open door food ideas, basically. You can make it exactly this way. I mean, I just happen to like it this way, so I make it this way. I try to get these out and to try to get them even so they're not clumped up. And it's just like those three pieces just evenly spread out here just perfectly. Hardly have any overlap anywhere. You're going to get some of this in every single bite. It's perfect. I don't know if you can see that. I'll hold it up. Yep, should be able to see it. It's good. It's beautiful. And then I'm going to put the mushrooms down. So these are fairly thin sliced, about as thin as the tofu. So I'm just going to kind of get these in here in some sort of a way to get everything covered. Well, it's just working out just beautifully. Let's get this. Probably need oh, there's already one cut off of there. So okay. So that's just great. Look at that. That's going to be fantastic. You'll be biting into mushrooms there and all that. And then I'm going to put the herbs down now. So this is the two, which is the cilantro and the green onion. And this is going to just flavor all this stuff up here. It's going to drop down, soak into the mushrooms. And that goes into the oven. It's about, so far, using this pizza crust that I use here, it's always about 6 minutes is perfect for me. You can leave it a little longer, a little less. It just depends on how much you want it cooked. That's fantastic. Just beautiful. Okay, we'll do that basil at the end. And now the cheese goes on. So you just kind of get this here and just do the same thing as with the tofu. Same exact process. Just sprinkle it around, get it as even as you can, good coverage everywhere. I'm gonna eat this for dinner, by the way, so. I don't think it's enough for two, and it might be maybe a little much for one, but I seem to be able to finish them, so I'm not any, giant person. This cheese is amazing. You don't really know you're using a plant-based cheese. That's how good this smells. And I covered that in my review. The aroma is one of the top things with cheese. You've got to smell cheese to really sort of, and anything. I mean, taste is smell. They work together. Let's see. Let's get all this on here. Beautiful. Look at that. Oh, that is just looking so good. It's going to be fantastic. Oh, can't wait to eat this thing. Okay. So there it is. You can see it before it goes in the oven, right like that. Beautiful. Okay. So I'm going to get this in the oven. It's about 6 minutes, but you won't know that because I'll be back in like 1 second. So as soon as this is done, I'll be back. Okay, here it is. It's just beautiful. Smells just fantastic. It's really gorgeous. You'll see it up here. It's just terrific. I let it cool down a little bit. I've got the basil already sprinkled on top of it. So I'm going to cut it and I'm going to taste it right here. So I do this several different ways. Sometimes I'll do 3 strips and sometimes I'll do just 2. This time I'm going to do 4. So I'm going to cut it in half and then cut it in half the other way. And just make these little squares. This is also a great appetizer. So, or for parties, you want to bring these out, before main course. Just pass them around at a party. You can cut them again in these little smaller pieces. Put a toothpick in them. Put them in a tray. It's just fantastic. Okay, let's test it out. That is really good. The tofu's like, the texture is just so fantastic with that thin smoked tofu. The smoky comes through, roasted garlic, cheddar cheese, the basil. It's fantastic, just fantastic. I'm FOODMAKER V, and remember, the best investment you'll ever make is an investment in your health. I'll see you next time.